I would like to thank you for attending the 25th Annual Superintendent's Breakfast. We'd like to give a special welcome and thanks to Superintendent Alicia Thompson, Deputy Superintendent Gil Alvarez, Colonel Hesseltine, Commissioner Dennis, and all BOE members able to attend today. Without all of your continued support in our program year after year, there would be no way for us to continue. Leading us in the Cadet Creed will be Cadet Captain Braden Carter from South High School, and Cadet Airman First Class Landon Martin from Hamilton will lead us in the Leadership Cadet Creed. If those cadets would please come forward.
I am a proud Wichita cadet. I will always conduct myself to bring credit to my family, country, school, and the Corps of Cadets. I am loyal and patriotic. I am the future of the United States of America. I do not lie, cheat, or steal, and will always be accountable for my actions and deeds. I will always practice good citizenship and patriotism. I will work hard to improve my mind and strengthen my body. I will seek the mantle of leadership and stand prepared to uphold the Constitution and the American way of life. May God grant me the strength to always live by this creed. Oh!
I am a cadet in the Wichita Leadership Program. I will be respectful at all times. I will maintain a high standard of integrity. I will wear my uniform with honor and pride. I will take my pride in myself, school, and community. I will strive to help my peers achieve success. I will participate in leadership activities. I accept the leadership challenge. Hooah!
As you all know, I am Cadet Colonel Peter Picaro from Northeast Magnet. I am the Corps Commander in charge of all Wichita Public Schools JROTC and leadership programs. And I guess I will give a few words about my experiences in the program. So when I started in high school, I wasn't necessarily a star student. I misbehaved a lot, and I got in trouble quite a bit, as I'm sure Lieutenant Colonel Steffen can tell you. He can attest to that. When I joined JROTC having no idea what it was about. I was not from a military family, and it was something brand new to me. I'd never been in leadership because Allison Middle School didn't have any sort of leadership program. It was too small. JROTC really gave me direction and motivation for high school, and it really gave me a better outlet for my energy to better build myself as a leader and to better learn how to serve my community. At Northeast, our program started relatively small. The entire first year class alongside Lieutenant Colonel Steffen were all learning together, as it was all our first year, and we were all trying to figure out how to make this JROTC thing work. Our class really helped build the program up. We developed a drill team, and we helped the program be taken a lot more seriously. We recruited endlessly, trying to get as many people to join as possible from the school, and we've been pretty successful with that. This year has been, despite COVID and all of the restrictions and not being in person, we have probably more cadets than I think we've had in a very long time. We're up to, I don't remember what the exact number is, but it's something around in the 80s. I like to think that that's really benefited Northeast Magnet, being a part of the school. I know our principal, Matt Kreisman, can definitely attest to how the students in JROTC carry themselves and how they respect teachers and how they respect their fellow students. JROTC has presented some very unique challenges to me. One example of this would be in my second year of JROTC. I learned to deal with a commander who did not like to do their job, and they did not like to communicate. This is a challenge that a student most likely will come into contact with at some point in their life, and this program has really given me a way to experience these challenges and learn to overcome them before I experience them in the real world so that I'm more prepared. JROTC is definitely what I would call a leadership laboratory. It's something where you get to put your skills into practice and you get to apply your skills through events and planning and executing and participating and all sorts of different outlets for that learning to be a leader. It's also given me some opportunities that I would have never had through any other program in high school. I have gotten to meet and talk with some very important figures, some very successful leaders, for example, Superintendent Thompson, and I've been able to learn some very valuable lessons that I may have that I may have had to learn myself the hard way, that instead JROTC has really given me a way to learn those lessons and to not make those mistakes as a leader. JROTC has given me a very strong foundation for success, and it has really taught me how to be a leader. I've been provided some very strong references, and I would like to say that JROTC played a part in my reception of the Koch Scholarship at WSU. After high school, I plan on attending WSU for mechanical engineering, and I plan to enter a career in that industry and to become a leader not only in the industry, but in my communities and in my country, to make this country a better place and to help make communities more welcome. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and I would like to welcome Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Turner up to the podium.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you everybody for attending today's program, and thank you, Superintendent Thompson, for hosting today's breakfast. My experiences in JRC really didn't start at high school. To really understand who I really am, I was a homeschooler ever since elementary school, middle school, and that's obviously led to me being a very shy person going to high school. And I really wasn't too confident to join JRC. I had brothers, both my brothers went to Northwest High School as well, and they were in the JRC program at Northwest, and I was intimidated to join. I was very intimidated. At the time, I was a little bit shorter, and if anybody knows Sergeant Johnson, Lieutenant Colonel Huey from Northwest, they're very tall people. So I'm walking up to them like, "Hello, sir. Hello, Sergeant. I'd like to join the JRC program." Very intimidated. But thankfully, there's great outlets and great people in the program to really mentor me and lead me to being the person who I am. And the great programs that we have, for example, one is the JCLC, which is the Junior Cadet Leadership Challenge course, always held in Salina by the National Guard. And at that course, it is a week-long application of some military basic skills to challenge the cadets and challenge their leadership and challenge their character and their integrity. And I've thankfully attended both my freshman year and sophomore year at that leadership course, and I strived in that, and that has built a lot of confidence for me. And being heavily involved in JRC really made me want to strengthen my academics and strive to be a good scholar. And it has led me to have a placement in the National Honor Society. It has led me to have a very high GPA. It has led me to strive for my academics, and it has opened a lot of doors for me for college. And I always say whenever I give speeches about JROTC is that it is not a recruiting event for the military. Even though we wear military uniforms, we teach some military doctrine, it is not a recruiting event for the military. It is simply just a program simply in the motto to teach young people to be better citizens. And I've seen that done daily, inside and outside the classroom. I have seen cadets who are troubled students come in. They obviously not very respectful, but towards the end, they learned what the military is about just a little bit, and they learned that there's bigger things than themselves, and they really truly shaped up, brought up their grades, and truly lived out the motto of becoming a better citizen. This year has provided many challenges, obviously, with the current pandemic, but we as a core staff, myself and Cadet Colonel Picaro and Command Sergeant Major Brown, truly attempted to connect to our students and connect to our cadets underneath us. And hopefully next year we can encourage people to truly make a better program coming out of this, and the lessons learned will be applied, and hopefully I'll be looking forward to a lot more outreach to the leadership programs and to our community after this virus. My future plans, even though I said it's not JROTC is not a recruiting event for the military, I did choose to enlist in the National Guard. I'll be going to my individual training over this coming summer. And after that, I will be using the benefits from the National Guard to attend WSU and major in industrial engineering and attending their ROTC program there to hopefully further my career and become a military officer and have a good foundation and support for that industrial engineering as a backup career, and that is my best options that were only open to me thanks to JROTC and thanks to the mentorship and the confidence instilled in me through the program. At this time, I'd like to hand it off to our Corps Command Sergeant Major, Victoria Brown, who is from North High School.
As far as I go, I grew up military. As Turner said, this is not a military, yes, it's military based. You do not have to go into the military, but however, I grew up military. My dad was active, so we moved every 2 years. I have been enrolled in 12 different school districts, and I would say this is one of the most positive outgoing. You have all these systems put in place, not only with JROTC, but through the Board of Education and the superintendent, the deputy superintendent. You guys all work together to make sure that the cadets and students get what they need, and I really appreciate that. But as Turner and Peter both said, this is a growing and always breathing type of program, if that makes sense. It's constantly changing, constantly adapting. I can probably speak better than anybody else could at North. We've had 5 different AI instructors over the years. Every year we've had a new one. We've had either somebody come and fill in, or we had somebody come and stay, and then some leave for whatever reasons that they have. And most of them are, like, we've always respected them, and seeing all these different personalities come in and out of our school and taking these leadership positions, and also having Major there constantly being that backbone and being that support and being that steady rock, and we get exposed to all these different type of leadership styles, we get exposed to all these different kind of cadets, and it's just truly inspiring to me. My junior year, so last year, I was a company commander, and I had this one cadet that was in my class ever since freshman year. And he wouldn't wear his uniform during uniform inspection. He was failing over half of his class. He wouldn't respect anybody. If you're like, hey, could you please go do this, even though it's for your own good, he would just look at you and be like, no, why can't you do it? It's like, because it's your homework? I don't know. It's kind of like you need to turn that in. And he was just a terrible cadet. And I had him again my sophomore year. I was his platoon sergeant, and I'm like, hey, can you please do this? You need to get your act together. High school doesn't last forever. As much as probably us seniors wish we could have another year to redo it, it doesn't last forever. It does come to an end. And I had to sit down and have this conversation with him, and he just looked at me blank. He was just like, okay, and I still got 2 years left. What are you talking about? That's so much time. And I was just like, actually. But now, last year, he was like my cadet again. He completely turned around. He was like, oh, I understand now. You do everything that you've been telling me to do. You actually turn in your homework. You actually try to get good grades, and you help other people, and you're company commander. I can't do that if I keep acting this way. I can barely get a squad position. So he completely turned around his act, and it taught me that if you're going to lead anything of any sort, if it's 1 cadet, 3 cadets, 100 or 2,000 and whatever that we have now, you have to lead by an example. And that's something I didn't understand originally, because like my parents, they were the only real leaders I had because of how much I moved. And it's like, they told me to do the chores, but they didn't do their chores. So it was like, I didn't understand that you had to lead how you had to do what you wanted seen done. And that's something that JROTC really taught me. And it was probably one of my wake-up moments, honestly, because I was like, okay, because it's always been about me, what my plans are, what I have going on, and how can I better myself, and I'm like, I can't get anywhere unless if everyone I'm around gets there with me. And I learned that also through a service learning project. I'm not sure if you guys know much about JROTC, but we have a JPA and a service learning project, and part of our JPA is we present our service learning projects. And the service learning project is a community service thing that each company or each battalion comes together and do. So every year we have 5 companies, each one of them does a different thing. Sometimes we go to the middle schools and we teach leadership and going, hey, here's fun activities to show that how to communicate and teach communication, because we've learned this year, if you don't communicate, you don't get anywhere. You can put out something once, but if you don't remind them and expect and inspect what you expect, it's not gonna happen. And so we'll go out and do all these things, and I decided we're gonna do a clothes drive. It's like, how the heck do you do a clothes drive if you don't talk to people? So I learned how to delegate. I learned that also with your delegations, you also have to have a part in it. You can't just tell somebody, hey, go do this, and then just ignore them. You have to check up on them. And that's something I didn't understand beforehand. I'm like, well, you got told to do it, so why didn't it get done? because you have to go check up and see if they have questions. You have to go see if they need help. You have to go see to make sure they have all the equipment and things that they need. And by the end of we only did it during February, so as you know, February is a super short month. We ended up raising over 2,000 articles of clothing and helped 135 families here in Wichita that are homeless. And I couldn't imagine being able to do anything on that drastic of a scale in such a short amount of time in any other program. I'm in National Honor Society. I help with the leadership program at my school. It's just something completely separate than the JROTC program. I'm in choir. I did cheer, I did volleyball, I did wrestling, I did swim, and none of these places fit me. And I truly believe, though, JROTC has a place for everyone, if that makes any sense. Like, if you are super sportsy and athletic and like to get dirty, well, then we have a Raider team that does exactly that. You learn how to build knots and you run for too long because I hate cardio. And they're just super athletic, super great, and once again, you learn that teamship. You learn, okay, these are my strengths and weaknesses, and nothing exposes that more, so you can learn from it in a positive way than I believe JROTC does. And I hope this is getting my point across of that it's a growing program. There's always room for improvement. Nothing's perfect, and cadets do grow and change. And I just hope that you guys can come to see our schools and be able to get a feel for that for yourself. Thank you once again for being here today.
Hi, I'm Taylor Williams from middle school, Hadley Middle School, and I'll be presenting my speech that I wrote back in December. As a sixth grader coming into middle school, I was placed in leadership my first quarter. I did not understand what the class was going to be about. I was not thrilled that I was going to have to wear a uniform once a week either. After a few weeks, my opinion completely changed. I was excited to be learning about the military, the history of our country, and getting to join the drill and color guard team. In elementary school, I was very shy and reserved. I had an exceedingly small circle of friends that I knew wouldn't judge me. I know I didn't put my best effort into my schoolwork because I didn't feel challenged. I was very careless about my grades. I wasn't a horrible student, I just lacked direction and discipline. Although I would still consider myself reserved, I have learned that it is beneficial to broaden my friendships. Leadership has shown me that being kind and courteous to everyone will get me farther in my relationships and life in general. I have learned that the grades I make and the effort I put into my education, even middle school, will affect the rest of my life. It will affect my choices on colleges and occupations as well. Moving on to high school, I would like to attend Northwest or Goddard. I am looking forward to joining the JROTC program again. I would like to continue with the drill team and color guard as well. I'm going to try my hardest to achieve the best grades I can and grow as a student and citizen. JROTC will help me stay on track and increase the effort I put into my schoolwork. I look forward to new challenges and growth the next 4 years will bring. Without leadership, I would have not discovered my passion for the drill team and color guard. I always admired the people presenting our colors at the events, and now I get to be a part of it. Becoming drill commander has taught me discipline, how to be a better leader, and sense of confidence I never knew I had. I am now proud to wear my uniform and be a part of the Wichita Public Schools leadership program. I come from an extensive line of Air Force service members. I have always been proud of my great-grandpas, uncles, and cousins serving our country, but I now have developed a deeper respect for all service members who have served or are actively serving our country as well. Leadership has shown me that I can follow in my family's footsteps. Leadership has shown me that military is not just training for and fighting wars. There are hundreds of extremely important jobs to be done daily in the military. My eyes have been opened to a potential career path and a path I never knew I was interested in. I have learned that I can serve my country and pursue my desired career in behavioral psychology. After high school, I would like to join the Air Force. From there, I will find a college that has a great psychology program so I can work towards completing my college education. I have developed an interest in the history of our country. I enjoy learning about the wars our country has been involved in and what led up to our involvement, what the roles the United States had played in those wars and the outcome. These things I probably would have never had found an interest in if it wasn't for leadership. Current events are a large part of leadership. I genuinely enjoy sitting and watching the news with my parents now. I've become interested in what goes on in the world around me, and whether it's local, statewide, national, or international, I am intrigued by the news and events going on. I find myself asking questions to gain a deeper knowledge instead of just listening. Overall, leadership has made me a better student and citizen. It has opened my eyes to the history of our nation, the current events shaping our future, and who I want to be. I have a newfound respect for our veterans, those currently serving our country, and their loved ones. I will forever be grateful for the leadership program because it has given me a new outlook on my future. I'm excited to continue this path of positive direction leadership has helped pave.
Hello, my name is Cadet Airman First Class Martin. I am a student at Hamilton Middle School. I am honored to represent the 1st Hamilton Royals group with pride and share how patriotism and leadership have influenced my life as a cadet in the USC 259 Cadet Corps. Patriotism exists in the heart. It is devotion and love for one's country. Patriotism is holding American values at the forefront and having hope during uncertain times. In some cases, patriotism guides people into the service of protecting and keeping our nation safe. Patriotism is an inalienable pull to protect what we value most: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The idea of patriotism fills me with the strength to love those who spend their lives trying to make a difference by providing opportunities and pathways for others to become successful in life. I believe this because I see things through a lens that focuses on how leaders act and principles upheld when they speak on behalf of this nation. I do not always agree with some of the actions taken by the leaders of our country. However, I do agree that we must continue on a path toward a better tomorrow. That path may not always look like what we imagine, but perseverance is better than the alternative of stagnation and indecision. I have a unique perspective at home. I have a strong family who believes in the values of this nation. My dad, who has shown himself to be a patriot as he served in the Marine Corps during the Iraq War. I learned to value things differently. I remember attending an event where we ruck marched for 22 hours just to recognize the 22 veterans that killed themselves every day. I didn't understand why people would put themselves through the endless of a forced march just to remember men and women who served, and among those only who a few had any connection to the suicide. Then my dad told me that one of the members of his combat unit, someone very close to him, committed suicide after he returned to a civilian life. It made me wonder how patriots and leaders could feel so lost trying to return to a normal life. I choose that day to be a leader and walk. I wonder if it is enough just to remember. Maybe being a leader in this instance meant something more. Maybe one day I can lead others to recognize the patriots we have lost along the way, those we owe our freedom to, and those who served alongside them. Leadership is more than taking charge in a situation. It is the will and the power to guide followers into something meaningful that they are ready for because you have prepared them to get to that point, and you're willing to walk alongside them. Despite the obstacles, to be a great leader, you must be an amazing follower. Not everyone is born a great leader. Many of us must learn to lead one day at a time. There are no shortcuts in life. When we take shortcuts, we miss learning valuable lessons that are gained through the mistakes that define us. Some leaders who lack these skills are often boring or intensely mean. But then I think of my dad, although he has some boring traits, which have been the hallmark of his teaching this year, and he too can be intensely mean. He always tries to find a better way to do things. He learns from his mistakes, just as we all should. Because of my dad, I had the opportunity to observe a leader who is different than what is expected. He's shown me that not all leaders are boring or intensely mean. He has taught me that patriotism and leadership are more than words. They are values we must teach to others every day. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Private First Class Cadet Rylan Costello. I am a 7th grader at JROTC STEM and Career Explorations Academy. I am also a student at Master Sergeant Williams' leadership class, and today I would like to tell you how leadership has made me a better citizen. Being a good citizen is when you follow the rules and do what you're told at all times. I know good leaders are also valuable citizens. I have learned they both go hand in hand. One of the reasons why leadership and citizenship go hand in hand is because a good citizen is responsible for their actions and how they affect others. In leadership class, we learned about General Cota and how he takes leadership on Omaha Beach. When he sees that they wouldn't survive without good leadership, He takes initiative. He has to get his men off the beach and take the fight to the Germans. Even though he was scared, he knew what had to be done. He always leads from the front because that's a true leader. Leadership has ignited me to be better in myself and lead a better life. The definition of leadership is the direction of guidance that helps a group accomplish goals. Right now, there is a dire need for good leaders. Part of being a citizen is having good integrity. A leader has to have integrity by demonstrating honesty, trustworthiness, and reliability. That's another reason why leadership and citizenship go hand in hand. I've learned that leadership applies to many areas of my life, even as a 7th grader. I utilize leadership at home, school, church, and playing sports. The leadership program overall has taught me what my instructor, Master Sergeant Williams, calls life principles, which are things that don't just pertain to one thing about your life, but every day. Another element that the leadership program has taught me applies to citizenship, as it encourages me to get out of my comfort zone and help out in the community. For example, I volunteer at Kansas Humane Society 2 or 3 times a month, helping with laundry, socializing dogs and cats, and helping with special events. I've learned a lot about caring for animals, the organization, and met a lot of people along the way. With leadership, I now know how to be a good citizen and leader. Leadership has ignited me to be a better person and strive to lead a better life. I thank Colonel Hester, Master Sergeant Williams, and all the people involved in the leadership program for this opportunity. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Adrian Hayden of Meade Middle School, and I'm a proud citizen of Wichita, Kansas. Speaking of being a good citizen, leadership has definitely taught me how to be a better one. The first thing leadership has taught me about being a better citizen is that you should be a better citizen in and out of school. Because being a good citizen out and in is showing others, letting them know that they should be one too. Some examples of being a good citizen are maybe bringing someone their wallet that they had dropped or lost back to them. Or maybe picking up trash in the environment that you know shouldn't be there, which is a form of maybe helping other people. Another quality of being a good citizen, leadership has taught me, is having a good personality. This is important because in order to be a good person, you must have a nice personality. Being a nice person is saying things like, good morning, and how are you? That's something else leadership has taught me. Another good trait to being a good citizen, as I know everybody in here is, leadership has taught me, is leading by example. This one is important. It goes over all of them, every single last one of them. Because you leading by example is showing others what to do. Plus, you can't be a leader without a team to lead. Some ways you can lead by example are just doing the right thing in front of others, and just, showing integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. This concludes my speech. I just want to say thank you to everybody who is listening, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day. I would like to invite Superintendent Dr. Alicia Thompson to share some comments with you.
This has been an amazing breakfast. I get excited every year when it's time for this breakfast because this group of young people actually I can relate to more than any group that we have in the district because they are in leadership and they have skills that they're developing that I aspire to do every day in my job. And those are things like building integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking, as he said, being able to be a good communicator, as I heard before. And then having people around you that you're leading and how important of a responsibility that is. Being a leader is tough. It's not easy to be a leader. I had some great conversation here with Peter, leading in the middle of a pandemic. You know, the two of us could really have some good conversations about that. It's hard. And so this group, out of all the groups that we have within the school district, really resonates with me because I know how it feels to be a leader when it's not popular, when people don't do what you tell them to do. All of those things resonate with me. At this time, what I'm going to do, as a good leader knows to do, is to recognize the people who are true leaders in this school district and who has led us in many ways, is our local Board of Education members. Our Vice President is here, Mr. Ben Blankley. If you would stand, Mr. Blankley. I'm also going to, our past Vice President, Ms. Julie Hedrick, is here as well. And our past President, Mrs. Cheryl Logan, is here as well. And Mr. Ron Rosales is here. These are really the true leaders of our school district. They have led us through a very difficult time this year, but you know, they did it with a lot of grace and dignity, and I appreciate their leadership in our school district. At this time, what I would like to do is I would like to have our leaders, Corps Command leaders, if you all would join me here. I've decided that I'm going to start a tradition here. I have these coins that I have, I think we developed these coins maybe last year before last. And these are, we have some Wichita Public School coins. And it says, WPS Proud, Wichita Public Schools, empowered to dream, believe, and achieve. And I heard a story about coins. You know, you give these coins to folks, and you guys are supposed to carry these wherever you go, right? Keep them in your pocket. And what I want you guys to do is you're leaving us, and we're so very proud of you all. You all are going to represent Wichita Public Schools with class, and I'm so proud of you guys. I know I'll be on the graduation stage, and I'll be able to maybe, I don't know what Mr. Alvarez will let me do. Maybe he'll let me fist bump you or elbow bump you as you're going across that stage and going to Wichita State and going into the military and, you know, what other dreams you may have. I am just going to be so proud to watch where you all go, because I know you will be somewhere in famous places, and I'll be like, yeah, I know that person there. She was part of the Wichita Public Schools family. So I am very excited to be able to present these coins to you. And I want you to take them everywhere you go, and hoping that this will be a remembrance of your time spent here at the Wichita Public Schools and thinking about your opportunities to continue to dream and to believe and achieve all that you ever want to do in this world, okay? So I am going to present these to you. And with that being said, I've concluded, and I will turn it back over to my colleague here to dismiss us.
All right, thank you all for being here. I'd like to ask that we give the cadets that spoke a big round of applause. I'd like to thank these cadets for preparing for this and doing this. I know this is not an easy thing, standing up in front of a bunch of people and a camera and speaking. It's not always easy. I'd like to thank Superintendent Thompson, Gil Alvarez, Colonel Hasedini, Commissioner Dennis, and BOE members, alongside everyone else for coming out this morning and participating in our program, and for all of your continued support in our JROTC and leadership programs. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I would like to thank you all for coming.